We're back now at 8:11 with more pushback from the Church of Scientology against claims in a new Vanity Fair article that the church auditioned prospective women for Tom Cruise. This morning, the church is calling that, quote, hogwash, unquote. Maureen Orth, who wrote the piece, is with us now. Maureen, it's always good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
And here comes the church, and they are questioning your sourcing in this article. And you have a lot of sources, unnamed and named. And here's what the church says. Vanity Fair relied exclusively on a small group of anti-Scientologists, a handful of self-promoting apostates who were admitted liars and suborners of perjury. And it goes on to say, indeed, the article fails to quote a single source who is not a vociferous anti-Scientologist. Is it fair?
No, I don't think so at all. As a matter of fact, Scientology does not know everybody I talk to, for one thing. But all of my quotes all of my sources in this article, with very few exceptions, are on the record. And these are people who were very high up in the church at one point.
But do they all have gripes against or grievances with the Church of Scientology?
No, some of them are still Scientologists, but they have gripes against the current leadership of Scientology, but they're not against the religion necessarily.
Let's talk about the premise of the article. It starts with this anecdote about Tom Cruise talking to an official of the church saying, I can't find a girlfriend, not even my sister can help me find a girlfriend. And that's what kind of initiates this process, according to your sources, of auditioning women for Tom Cruise. So we have to believe that one of the most popular movie stars in the world, one of the wealthiest, one of that women consider the most handsome, can't find a girlfriend.
He can't find the Scientology soulmate that he needs to be the number 2 most important person in the religion, which is what he was called by the head of Scientology.
So it has to be a woman that meets his standards, but also meets the church's standards.
Correct.
And the church did not approve, according to your sources in your article, about Nicole Kidman toward the end of their marriage.
That's right. For a long time, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman during the marriage had drifted away from the church. And it was the job of the second in command of the church, the Inspector General, Marty Rothman, to help bring Tom back into the church. And he audited him, which is their kind of confessional, every day for nearly a year.
And you write in the article that staff members in Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman's home were spying on them and reporting back to church officials.
That's what I was told by my sources, that every single thing that went on in that house between them was being reported back by their special assistants who were a married couple in the house.
When it comes to this auditioning process, you write that it was conducted under the guise of being a special project that was going to be done with Tom Cruise, and the women who were auditioned had no idea really what that project was. And this is how the church ended up coming up with this woman, Nazanin Boniadi. Tell me about her.
Nazanin Boniadi was a very fervent Scientologist, a very beautiful young woman who was born in Iran, raised in London, graduated with honors, and was from the University of California at Irvine, and wanted to be a doctor. She was applying to medical school.
And she goes through this audition process, doesn't know what she's auditioning for, except she's been asked about Tom Cruise.
Yes, and she's been asked about every part of her life. She had to write a 20-page single-spaced paper about her hopes, dreams, aspirations. All of her sex life was asked about. She was getting audited for hours every day because she was being told that she was going to go meet world leaders and that there was a very special mission for the church.
And she was told a couple of things had to change in her life. She had to change her hair, she had to lose the braces, and she had to dump her boyfriend.
Right. That was very hard for her because she was very much in love with this young man, and they had been seeing each other.
But she agreed to it.
Well, because the confidential, he also was in Scientology, and I was told by my sources that the confidential audits of him, some of that material in there was leaked to her that caused her to break up with him.
By the way, you did not talk to Nazanin Boniadi, correct?
I'm not talking about who I talked to and did not talk to.
Well, but I mean, that's a kind of important distinction. I mean, if she's the center of a large part of this article, wouldn't we want to know if you actually spoke to her directly?
You might want to know, but I'm not going to tell you who my sources are.
All right. She apparently felt manipulated initially when she found out this whole project was actually some sort of a dating situation for Tom Cruise, but you write she soon fell head over heels in love with him.
Absolutely. He turned on the total charm. The first date, they shut down Rockefeller Center right here. They went ice skating. They took a tour of the Empire. She was asked what was her dream date, and she said it was sushi and ice skating, and she got it all.
And eventually, not long into this relationship, things soured. She was basically sent away to a Scientology center, according to your sources, in Florida. And when she finally broke down and told a friend of hers who was a Scientologist about what had happened with Tom Cruise, because it had all been pretty secret, you say she was punished.
Absolutely, because she was being, my sources told me she was being told that the fact that she was heartbroken was her problem, that she should be able to get over this. And she was crying all the time. So this woman who was also there said to her, why are you crying all the time? And she finally broke down, and she was forbidden to ever mention that this thing had happened or talk about Tom Cruise. But she did, and as a result, she had to get down on her hands and knees and scrub toilets with a toothbrush. And
why would she put up with that?
Why would she put up with that? She believed that she was in a church that was saving mankind. She was a true believer.
You know, this young lady is an actress, right? She's no longer a member of the Church of Scientology.
No, she's not.
But clearly her name is going to be in all the headlines right now. Would you expect that she would come forward just to clear the air and set the record straight in one direction or another? She
was very, very deeply traumatized by this whole experience. Plus, I think that for a long time, according to what I understood, she really did not want to be defined in Hollywood by this particular.
Do you know if she objects to what you've written here?
I think if she would have objected, I would have heard about it, and I haven't heard. And I've heard a very good friend of hers, Paul Haggis, the director, completely stand up for what I've written.
Did you talk at all to Nicole Kidman or Katie Holmes as part of your research for this?
I tried. There's a very few people that were willing to talk. But by the way, I must say, we asked Tom Cruise and the head of the Church of Scientology several times for interviews, and they refused.
Maureen Orth, and the article can be seen in this issue of Vanity Fair magazine. Maureen, it's nice to see you. Thanks very much.